In this tutorial, I'm going to share tips to help you create powerful previews that lead to educated purchases. When you finally finish designing a product, it is ever so tempting to skip creating a preview and get right to selling. Trouble is, an email gets sent to your followers within 24 hours of your new product being posted. Those already loyal customers may visit your product page before you get a preview uploaded. Those same visitors may walk away from a purchase because they aren't provided with enough detail about your newest resource. This is a complete waste of a one-time primo marketing opportunity. If done consistently, you may even lose a follower. On the other hand, when you think of product preview creation as part of the process of finalizing a resource, your products will be purchased more often, and the people who purchase your products are more likely to give positive feedback about their well-informed purchase. To get started, let's take a look at a product preview. Teachers open your preview for one of two reasons. 1, your title and cover page captured their attention, or 2, your product description led them to want to learn more. Either way, they're not quite ready to make a purchase, so it's time to display what your resource can provide them in a way they can't resist. The following elements will help you get the job done. A product overview. This is a blurb that paints a picture of how the product can be used in the classroom. Product elements. This is a list of the major elements included in the resource, along with a short description and preferably accompanied by thumbnail visuals. Standards alignment. This page explains the standards your resource helps to address. Simply listing the numbers of each standard isn't as effective because not everyone uses the same standards. The visuals. This is a closer look at each element outlined in your product elements list. These must be strategically layered so you give the potential customer a good idea of exactly what they're going to get without giving it away for free. And recommended products. I'll talk more about this in Tool 20. When creating a product preview, using the same program you use to design your resource makes the process a bit more efficient. That's because you can simply modify your finalized product into a preview. I use Microsoft PowerPoint to get the job done. Here's how. After doing a final save of my completed resource, I save it again under a different file name. I usually just put the word preview in all caps before the file name, and then click Save. I then confirm that the new file name was created by checking the window title. Then I save all the slides of the resource as pictures by clicking File, Save as Pictures. I always save the pictures to the desktop so that they're easy to access during the next few steps. You can head over to the desktop to open your folder of pictures. As you can see, each slide is now saved as a flattened JPEG. I will use these images in a moment once I'm done prepping. Back in the preview document, I'm going to delete most of the content of my resource. Again, I am double checking that I am in the preview document and not the original resource. That's because the only thing I'm going to leave behind are the recommendations page, the program overview, the program elements, and the standards alignment. I can either delete one page at a time by simply selecting the page and clicking Delete or Backspace on my keyboard, or I can select several pages at a time by clicking the first page, scrolling down, and then holding down Shift, clicking the last page, and then hitting Delete or Backspace on my keyboard. That's deleted several of the slides from my document. I'm going to use that same skill of clicking, scrolling down, holding the Shift button and clicking again so that I can push Delete or Backspace and delete several of the slides at once. Now I have only 10 slides left in my resource. Now my resource is prepped for preview creation. Let's take a closer look at the product overview. In the overview, I aim to help the teacher visualize how my resource will be an asset to their teaching. Oftentimes, a lot of this language can be copied and pasted into your product description. I include it in both places because there are several customers who go directly to the preview download without reading the product description blurb. You can read various examples of my product descriptions by either visiting my store or downloading the PDF document below where I have compiled some of my product previews to save you some time. Next up, let's take a look at the resource elements. This page gives a specific description of each element included in the resource. Next to each element, I include a small visual. This makes it easier for the customer to understand exactly what I'm referring to. My preferred format for this page is 2 columns. The description itself in a text box, which I can resize easily, and the thumbnails, which I have gathered from the JPEGs I created when I saved the resource as pictures. Let's take a look at formatting them. First, I'm going to add an extra slide so that I have a blank canvas where I can quickly paste and resize images. I then open my folder of JPEGs from my desktop and add each of the images I want to include on my resource elements page. To do so, I'll simply open the image, click Edit, select All, and then copy, hop back over to the preview document, and click Paste. I'm going to repeat that process for each of the images that I'd like to include. Now that I have all the images that I'd like to include on the page, I'm going to resize them simultaneously so that they're uniform in size, creating a more polished, easy-to-read page. To do this, I click Edit, select All, or hit Command A. I could also drag my cursor around all the images and then release. Last, I'll grab the bottom corner and drag up so all the images are resized. Now that I have everything resized, I'm going to select them all, cut them from this page, and paste them onto my Program Elements page. It takes a little tinkering to get a layout that isn't cluttered, but once you've got it, the page will become an easy reference for all of your customers. Since these thumbnails blend into the background, I'm going to select both of them by holding down the Shift key, clicking Format Picture, and then adding a border. I'm going to make the border stand out a bit more by scrolling down to Weights and selecting a thicker border. I'll do the same for this image. Now you've seen how to use JPEGs to create thumbnails on your Program Elements page. On to standards alignment. This part of the preview is very straightforward because it is simply a formatted list of standards. I recommend including the grade level, the standard number, and the actual text for each standard. This allows teachers from around the world to analyze whether this resource addresses the standards they teach. In California, we teach Common Core standards. I've included a link to the site I refer to below. Feel free to add links to the standards you use in your area in the comment section. Next up are the visuals. You will once again use the JPEG files you created in the first steps of this process. This is your opportunity to give potential customers a closer look at each of the product elements, but it is essential to layer them strategically so they cannot easily be lifted from the preview and reproduced without purchasing. Here's how. Use your blank slide canvas to quickly paste and resize images. You're going to grab the images you want to add to the page from your JPEG files. I usually add several images because I like to show potential customers as much of the product as possible so they feel comfortable making the purchase. Once I have the images I want, I'm going to highlight to select all of them, then release, grab the lower corner, and resize. Next, I'm going to start layering the images in a way that's visually appealing and shows the customer what they're getting, but also layers the content so that it can't be lifted. To do that, here I'm going to click Arrange and bring this image to the front. Once you have all of your pages formatted with a dynamic, layered look, you can give your potential customers more information about the visuals you've chosen to include by adding a quick caption using a text box. I like to make my captions pop a bit by layering them on top of a clip of digital scrapbook paper. To do so, I'll open up one of these papers, drag the cursor across a section of the paper, and release. Then I'll click Copy, and paste it into my preview document. I can then resize this colorful graphic, rotate it, and layer it underneath my text box. Looks like I need to make it a little wider so that it's underneath all of my text. I'll do the same on my other pages. The last page in this product preview is the recommended products page. This is a little something I just recently started adding to my previews. If you're interested in learning about this extra step, watch Tool 20. In the next tutorial, Tool 15, I'll give you a few pointers on bundling related products.